Good evening and welcome to this book release program. At the outset, may I request Honorable Deputy Chairman to welcome the Honorable Vice President of India and Chairman Rajya Sabha with a bouquet.
I don't deserve them. Thank you.
May I now request Secretary General Rajya Sabha to welcome the Honorable Deputy Chairman with a bouquet. Once again, may I now request Secretary. May I now request Honorable Deputy Chairman to deliver the welcome address.
Honorable Vice President of India and Chairman of Rajya Sabha, Honorable Parliamentary Affairs Minister Shri Kumar-ji, other Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, Secretary General Rajya Sabha Shri Sharif, distinguished guests, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great privilege and honor to welcome you all to this function organized by the Rajya Sabha Secretariat on the occasion of the release of the third edition of the book titled Rajya Sabha at Work by the Honorable President of India and Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Our heartfelt gratitude goes to the Honorable Chairman for having so kindly agreed to do the honors in spite of his busy schedule and other engagements. Sir, we are privileged to have you here today. Your august presence has indeed added significance and luster. I heartily welcome you to this very important function. It is also a privilege to have with us our Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Shri Kumar-ji, and other honorable ministers, and also honorable members. Not all of them are here, at least some of them are here. I welcome each one of you. I am given to understand that Rajya Sabha at Work was scheduled to be updated in 2016. Shri Sharif, our Secretary General, very thoughtfully commenced the work from 2013 for this laudable effort. I also congratulate his team of officials who were associated with the laborious exercise to update the book, which constitutes an invaluable publication in the treasure of literature on the functioning of our parliamentary institutions. This fascinating publication gives an in-depth account of the various aspects of the day-to-day functioning of Rajya Sabha, its committees, and the Secretariat, and highlights the constitutionally assigned role of Rajya Sabha in our democratic polity. As you know, the framers of our Constitution envisioned the lofty objective of establishing the Rajya Sabha as a second chamber of our Parliament to provide a second look and deeper scrutiny of the legislations and to debate and deliberate on the issues concerning nation building, development, and governance. During the span of more than 6 decades of its functioning, the Rajya Sabha has stood the test of time and played a significant role as a legislative, deliberative, and oversight body in our democratic polity. Indeed, its role has been phenomenal in creating, in the words of late Shri K.R. Narayanan, the former chairman of Rajya Sabha and President of India, a full-fledged legislative state to provide the architecture of law for governance, social transformation, and empowerment of people. The constitutionally enshrined provision mandating Honorable Vice President of India as ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha constitutes a distinctive aspect enhancing the status and dignity of the House. I must say with all sincerity and conviction that the galaxy of chairmen who presided over this august House since its inception have played very significant roles in guiding the deliberations and conducting its proceedings with utmost fairness, impartiality, and wisdom. In doing so, they have created rich and great parliamentary traditions, justly enriching our democratic ethos and legacy. Our present chairman, Shri Hamid Ansari, has taken innovative steps from time to time to bring about appropriate procedural changes for making the proceedings and functioning in the House more meaningful and effective and holding the government to account. His path-breaking measures for streamlining the question hour and other aspects of the functioning of the House and its committees have enhanced the image of the Rajya Sabha in public esteem. Chairman, sir, as Deputy Chairman, I have been greatly benefited by your valuable guidance and support to conduct the proceedings of the House. Your exemplary and inspiring leadership, as also your interventions, rulings, observations, and directions, has enabled this House to play its constitutionally mandated role and discharge its responsibilities as a second chamber in our parliamentary democracy. Our wisdom, sagacity, and impartiality have enabled us to conduct the proceedings of the Rajya Sabha justly and effectively. But for your support, sir, I could not have been successfully conducting the proceedings of the Parliament. Today also, I could ensure that a bill is passed within the allotted time of 2 hours. The force behind that is none other than Honorable Chairman. That's why I am able to do that. It is in this perspective that the updation of the Rajya Sabha at work assumes enormous significance. The timely publication of this book under your guidance testifies to your able leadership. I sincerely hope that this publication, comprising historical references, numerous rules, conventions, and precedents, as also latest parliamentary developments governing the functioning of the Rajya Sabha, will help the members and all concerned for discharging their onerous responsibilities effectively. It is extremely important for members to familiarize themselves with the parliamentary rules, practices, customs, and conventions so that they could make optimum utilization of the precious time of the House while participating in its deliberation and raising issues of public importance. I take this opportunity to extend my heartiest congratulations to the Secretary General Rajya Sabha for taking the initiative of updating this important publication, and also to those officers who worked with sincerity and dedication to bring it out in time with updated information. He is here in spite of some problem with results. We wish all of us wish you a speedy recovery and perfect and sound health. I am glad that simultaneously the Hindi version of this publication has also been brought about. So those who do not know English, there's no problem, Hindi is also there. I am sure it would be of enduring value to the presiding officers, members, parliamentary officials, and to all those interested in the functioning of our parliamentary democracy. With these words, I once again welcome the Honorable Chairman for gracing this occasion. I also welcome all other dignitaries and honorable members for their valuable presence. I also take this opportunity to compliment the Secretary General and all the officials of the Rajya Sabha Secretariat for organizing this function. Thank you. Jai Hind.
I now invite Shri Shamsher K. Sharif, Secretary General Rajya Sabha and the editor of the third edition of Rajya Sabha at Work, to say a few words about the book.
Honorable Vice President of India and Chairman Rajya Sabha, Honorable Deputy Chairman, Honorable Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Members of Parliament, colleagues of the Rajya Sabha Secretariat, many friends in the media, ladies and gentlemen. I will be brief because one of the hallmarks of both the Honorable Chairman and, as Deputy Chairman Saab has just said, we stick to time. So we promised him that it will not be a very elaborate function and will limit ourselves. So for the sake of brevity, I will only say that we have assembled here today for the launching of this third edition. We are very grateful to you, sir, for your gracious presence and your consent to release the publication. We are also grateful to the Honorable Deputy Chairman for making such a warm welcome address. We consider ourselves fortunate to receive the sage guidance of both Honorable Chairman and Deputy Chairman in matters concerning the functioning of the House. The publication is being released, as has just been mentioned, in bilingual versions. In Hindi, it is known as Karyarat Rajya Sabha, and in English, it is called Rajya Sabha at Work. It is a voluminous publication running over 1,000 pages. It has 27 chapters on various themes, covering literally all important aspects of the Rajya Sabha and its committees. Beginning from the evolution, powers and positions of the Rajya Sabha to the last chapter on the Secretariat, the publication captures the rules and precedents, practices and procedures that govern the functioning of the Rajya Sabha. In all sense, this is a seminal publication, and many of us know of the British parliamentary practice, which is Erskine and May, and we have our sister publication in Lok Sabha also under Kaul and Shagdar. And while the latest edition of Kaul and Shagdar is the 7th, and Erskine May is of the 24th, we are still very young at the third edition. I would like to mention here that the Rajya Sabha was constituted on the 3rd of April 1952, followed by the Lok Sabha, which was constituted on the 17th of April 1952, though they met for the first time on the 13th of May, respectively, in their houses. And it is a sheer irony that despite its constitution in 1952, we did not have a dedicated procedural publication about Rajya Sabha until the year 1996, when the first edition was brought out. We are indebted to late Srimati V.S. Ramadevi, former Secretary General Rajya Sabha, and Shri B.S. Gujar, former Director Rajya Sabha, for undertaking this pioneering work. They richly deserve our gratitude. On this occasion, we deeply feel the absence of late Srimati Ramadevi, but welcome her daughter, Srimati V.S. Rekha, and her family, who herself she's a senior counsel herself, and is present. And of course, who would not know Mr. Gujar, who's sitting right here, and it is a matter of great privilege to have him here. He's come all the way from Pune, and we welcome him to his second home. Though we continue periodically to revise the book every 10 years to meet the growing requirements of our House, we attempt to preserve and retain its original form and content. It's a legacy we proudly cherish. The relevance of the book Rajya Sabha at Work can scarcely be overemphasized. There can be no two views that it is immensely helpful to the chair, the members, officers at the table as an authoritative compendium about the Rajya Sabha practice and procedures, precedents, and conventions. It is also useful to our state legislatures and foreign parliaments as well. I often have the privilege of giving some of these copies when we travel abroad for international conferences, when they want to know some of our practices and procedures, and some of my colleagues in other parliaments have in fact taken a few suggestions out of them to create their own. We also now have a series of exchange programs with parliament secretariats and showcase this as a publication. The fact that the publication is now electronically available on our website facilitates easier access to information. Besides Rajya Sabha at Work, which contains vast amount of procedural information, it is one of the best guides one can get to know to understand the maze of rules concerning the functioning of the House. For the officers of the Secretariat, it is the most authentic reference manual that keeps them updated, builds their knowledge base, and helps them discharge their responsibilities effectively. It also serves better in conducting workshop in parliamentary practice and procedures for the officers of the government and others. I may mention here on the side that in our Secretariat, we have intensive training programs for our staff, and that is all reflected in this book because it is their training programs in various places that have helped us to create this book. And also, at times, we advise the government of India in various places. I myself have addressed the Niti Aayog at times on various aspects of this, and also some of the other ministries from time to time when they come here for their training programs. In the present publication, we've incorporated all the major procedural developments that have taken place since the second edition in 2006. There are so many of them that it is, I would say, the decade of the Honorable Vice President that has given us so much material to incorporate. For instance, the changing of the timing of the question hour, the changing of the calling attention timing, the 0 hour, and the 3-minute rule. And as Deputy Chairman Sahab himself has said just now, how he's able to manage the House with some certain rules, which I'm so glad all the members do follow in large measure. In the recent years, the role of Rajya Sabha in the sphere of legislation has come under sharp focus. The constitution of a number of select committees in the Rajya Sabha has been an important legislative development, and it is this book that helps to guide many people. Apart from this, I would be failing if I didn't mention the human service, which does not go into this book, which has been provided by the Rajya Sabha television, which in fact has taken this entire thing closer to the people on a real-time basis. And it is very difficult because people do see things for themselves, and now with the Rajya Sabha at Work online, I'm sure you all will have an interesting time. We now also have edited the debates of Rajya Sabha and digitized and uploaded the debates and given various links. The interesting part of this book is that we have footnoted a great deal this time to provide people for various kinds of links so that it becomes available to people online itself. And now that we have digitized and we are fairly up to date on it, I would say, and therefore it's very easy for people to actually go into these debates themselves. We are grateful to the Honorable Chairman for his constant inspiration, as I said, and it is because of his many procedural initiatives in all these years that we have made some major changes in the publication. I'm indebted to him for the foreword, to the Deputy Chairman for the introduction, and I would like to mention and record my appreciation for the combined efforts of all my colleagues, the officers, the staff, the sections of the Secretariat. We are a strength of about 1,500 people, and it is impossible to name everyone. Each one of them has contributed so much at every stage that I take this opportunity to gratefully acknowledge them. While editing this, I had great opportunities to see the quality and also the production of the work. Personally, for me, it has been a very satisfying experience. A labor of love, you may say. Having had the privilege of serving 2 vice presidents and a president of India, a role of aiding and assisting some of the highest political and constitutional authorities in the country. In the office of the vice president, the essential features of the rubrics of governance was learnt and gave me the opportunity to experience the contours of the highest levels of governance of a state with 1 billion population and immense diversities. With the president, I found myself in a delicate position to aid and assist the president in carrying out his role as upholder of the Constitution, a document that enshrines popular sovereignty of the country. His role as one who has the right to know, to advise, to warn, gave me the opportunity to serve the president and learn in the process of governance. The office seeks to protect the principles of fundamental rights, democracy, pluralistic society, secularism, and social justice. I have tried to bring into this publication some of my experience, and I do hope that all the members would find it useful. I hope it would also prove to be an important reference manual for parliamentarians, parliamentary officials, research scholars, and all those who are interested in the institution of Parliament and its procedures and practices. The publication does bring the Rajya Sabha closer to the people. I only have one regret, and if I may have your permission of saying so, sir. That regret is that we have not been able to introduce any humor into the book. And I don't think this kind of book can bring humor, so I hope one of my successors will bring in another publication under the guidance of Honorable Deputy Chairman, who does conduct the House with a lot of wit and humor, and brings out a book on the wit and humor of Parliament, of which there's an immense amount. Thank you. Jai Hind.
May I now request Honorable Vice President of India and Honorable Chairman Rajya Sabha to release this book formally. May I once again request Honorable Vice President of India and Honorable Chairman Rajya Sabha to kindly bless this gathering with his kind word.
Honorable Deputy Chairman Dr. Kurian, Honorable Minister of Parliamentary Affairs Anant Kumar ji, distinguished honorable members of the Rajya Sabha, I see some familiar faces who were members of Rajya Sabha but decided to leave us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's one of the lesser known duties of the Vice President of India is to preside with certain frequency on book release functions. And I confess I have done that fully in the past 10 years. But it is no exaggeration to say that never have I come across so good-looking a book as the present edition of Rajya Sabha at work. It catches the eye fast and quick. It is not, at least for me, I tried it to make it bedside reading, but the sheer weight made it impossible. But it nevertheless remains a valuable source of reference which should be read with or without reason, particularly by those who are either members or part of the group of very valuable members of the Secretariat who quietly, namelessly contribute to the functioning of the Rajya Sabha. This is the third edition of the book, as the Secretary General has just said. The first edition came out in 1996, and one of the two people who edited it then is present with us here today. The second edition came out in 2006 when Dr. Yogendra Narayan was Secretary General. And then we have the third edition today. The question is often asked, what does a Rajya Sabha do? My short answer is, it is what it does. And those who have participated in the functioning of this House for shorter or longer periods know that the graph is not a lateral one. There are highs and lows. The highs are very high. They go higher than Mount Everest. The lows don't touch the depth of the ocean, but still would be just below the average surface of land. The important thing is, as Dr. Kurian has said and the Secretary General, Mr. Sharif, has said, is that the framers of our Constitution, and they were a group of very wise people, decided to give us a legislative structure in which they consciously, deliberately, purposefully provided for what is popularly known as the second chamber. But if you read the Constitution carefully, the Rajya Sabha is always mentioned before the other chamber. I'm not scoring any points. I'm just saying what is factually correct in every line where the two houses are mentioned. And this is not accidental. They thought about it a great deal. They collected a vast body of information and knowledge from parliaments which mattered in the world. The United States Congress, the British Parliament, various other parliaments in countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada. And it was a structure which was very deliberately put in place. It was certainly not meant to delay. It was not meant to obstruct. But it was purposefully and consciously meant to give space for reconsideration of a decision which would have been taken consciously and with all due deliberation. Many, many decades ago, when I was a young officer in the Indian Foreign Service, one of my gurus gave me a piece of advice which has served me very well in life. He said, जो कुछ रात को लिखो उसको सुबह को फिर से पढ़ो. So a second look is always useful. And my experience in the past decade has been that the second look in the Rajya Sabha has added to the quality. It has not subtracted. It has added. Because there is another set of people here. Not all of them are grey-haired people. Not all of them have reached the stage when there's no more hair left on the head. But they come from different walks of life. And they bring different life experience and different bodies of knowledge. This is what makes a second look so relevant. I give you one simple instance. Each one of us in this house is aware that too many pieces of our legislation are landing up in courts. Now, one reason for that, apart from activism of various kinds, is that sufficient attention has not been paid to drafting. Those who draft legislation are very competent people in the various ministries of the government. But you look at it from an angle. I look at it from one side, you look at it from another side, a third person looks at it from another side. And it is that angle, the judges look at it from another angle. So the more angles you take in looking at a product, the better it is. A little comma here, a semicolon somewhere else, does make a difference where judicial scrutiny is concerned, and that is exactly what the work is. I think we have seen, at least in the period that I have been as chair of the House, select committees doing excellent work, commendable work. Some of the chairpersons of those select committees are present amongst us here today. But every piece of work done by them within the assigned period of time given to them has added to the quality of legislation, not subtracted from it. And last but not the least, one thing which remains unique in Indian constitutional history, and that was an occasion when the House excelled itself, was the impeachment of a judge. It was the second occasion in our parliamentary history. The first did not reach the desired conclusion. The second did. And the quality of debate, unquestionably, from all sides, was superlative. I recall it went on for 2 days. At the end of the first day, the then leader of opposition sent me a slip of paper. He was to be the last speaker of the day. He said, I do not want to conclude today. I assumed, coming from the leader of opposition, that there must be good reason. Later on, I asked him, what was it? After the whole thing was over. And he said, there was a paper in the vast volume of papers that were presented in that inquiry, which I wanted to read again. And I found the answer. Now, that is the kind of second look which is always helpful to us. So I'm very glad that this new edition has been produced. I am very certain that it will be very useful to the honorable members, and that going through it, not all of it at one go, but periodically, will help the honorable members in doing their work in the House better. I cannot end without thanking the Secretary General and his team of very, very dedicated officers of the Secretariat who helped this volume take shape. And I repeat what I said in the beginning, it is certainly not only a very good-looking volume, but it will be a very, very valuable volume. Jai Hind.
Sir, finally, I request Dr. D.B. Singh to present a vote of thanks.
Honorable Chairman, Sir, Honorable Deputy Chairman, Sir, Honorable Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Members of Rajya Sabha, Secretary General Rajya Sabha, ladies and gentlemen, I feel extremely privileged and honored to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of the Secretariat and on my own behalf, express my deepest gratitude and thanks to the Honorable Chairman for releasing the third edition of Rajya Sabha at Work this evening. Chairman, Sir, under your inspiring leadership and guidance for nearly a decade now, the Rajya Sabha Secretariat has made big strides. Sir, you have always been a source of great strength and encouragement for every little endeavor that we make. Sir, your presence here at this function in itself is the best possible reward for the efforts put in by all of us in bringing out this publication. We feel highly obliged to you, sir, for this kind gesture. We are obliged to Honorable Deputy Chairman, sir, for his gracious presence in this function and for delivering the welcome address. We are also extremely grateful to honorable members, Honorable Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, honorable members of Rajya Sabha, and distinguished guests who have graced the occasion with their presence. I also take this opportunity to thank the Secretary General for giving an introduction of the book and for sharing and for sharing significant developments in the last decade that have been incorporated in this edition of the book. He has meticulously worked on this project for the last several months and has been the driving force behind this publication. The Rajya Sabha at Work is authored by Shri B.G. Gujar and Shrimati V.S. Ramadevi. We feel extremely honored that Shri B.G. Gujar and Shrimati V.S. Rekha, daughter of late Shrimati V.S. Ramadevi, are present here with us today at this function. I thank them for joining us. I would also like to compliment and congratulate the officers and the staff of the Secretariat who have worked hard to bring out this publication. I also thank Genco Art India and Akashdeep Printers for quality printing of the English and Hindi version and bringing out for this elegant publication. I also thank the representative of the print and electronic media for covering the function. Finally, I would like to place on record my appreciations and thanks to all those from the Secretariat and allied agencies who have contributed to make this function a success. With these words, I once again thank you all for your esteemed presence here. May I now request all of you to join us for tea in the banquet hall. Thank you.
आइए